Hey guys, it is J Star Wars 360 here with another Clone Wars vlog for you. This is Disappeared Part 2. This is the episode where Mace Windu and Jar Jar Binks track the Queen who was kidnapped at the end of Part 1 to this planet. I don't know if they ever say the name of it. And they're basically, most of it is them just chasing the bad guys who had the Queen through the planet until they get to this point where the bad guys, turns out, are working for Mother Talzin, which would have been a kind of a surprise if it wasn't for the fact that I knew about from trailers, and someone also kindly mentioned in the My Thoughts Going to blog that it was going to be Mother Talzin there was an arc with Mother Talzin. And they fight Mother Talzin and defeat her and save the Queen. And this episode is more the same. IGN said it was a little less engaging. I thought this was a bit better, just if anything, because this episode was a bit more action-packed than the last one. I mean, the whole episode is them just basically chasing Mother Talzin, fighting her, and then occasionally we have some dialogue between Jar Jar. First off, I love the design of this planet. It's big. It looks like a moon planet because you can see like the other planets off in space, and there's some great lighting with the night. There's the village looks really cool. Like, so many good designs. Or the place where they have the ritual looks really cool. The little dial thing that counts down until the planets line up. The stone giants that Windu and Jar Jar have to fight, those look really awesome. I mean, so much great designs. And I also really like seeing Mother Talzin again. I think she's a great villain. I mean, she lost in March Madness to, I think it was Pre Vizsla. They're both good villains, but I just love Mother Talzin. I mean, if you don't know, Mother Talzin was originally there was some concept art for Phantom Menace. If you have the Blu-ray of Star Wars, the Star Wars Complete Saga, if you go on the bonus features and you look for the Phantom Menace concept art, she's in there. It was like an idea they had that they never got around to using, and Dave Filoni's like, hey, that would work for Clone Wars. So as a result, we got this awesome villain with this raspy voice with this really monstrous and deep echo. Such an awesome villain, and I was really happy to see her back because it was a little unclear at the end of Season 4 if she was still alive, still out there. I mean, because, yeah, we haven't seen her since Season 4. And I was really happy to see her back because, again, I really think she's a good villain. She made some really nice use of her powers here. We got to see her using her green lightning. Also, some really awesome bit with her where she uses like her magic to create like this green energy sword. She's fighting Mace Windu with it, and Jar Jar thankfully barely says anything during the fight. Although, as IGN points out, because I did read the review on it, but it could have been longer. Like, it was less than a minute. And one thing I really like is when lightsaber fights are really given a lot of time to play out. Like, we get a couple minutes of non-stop fighting, which is kind of hard to do in the Clone Wars because you only have like 22 minutes to do everything. And you honestly have so much to cover in an episode that you don't have the time to cram it in. Like, okay, that's one criticism I have with the Clone Wars is that sometimes there's so much plot that there's not many moments where you can just have like a few minutes of non-stop action. I mean, they got better at that, like starting with the Darth Maul arc when they had the two really good lightsaber fights and then the awesome chase scene with Ahsoka. But yeah, it's really hard because with the anime Clone Wars series, Genndy Tartakovsky was really more concerned with action than story, so he basically just would have dialogue and plot to a minimum so he could just cram as much action as he could into 3 minutes. With this show, though, it's much more story-based, and there's not as much focus on action, so there aren't as many moments where it's just lots of non-stop action, and I do kind of wish we had a bit more of that. So anyway, back to the episode. So, again, overall, a lot of fun action. I mean, I think my only major gripe with this is, I have a couple, one of which is Jar Jar. I think he's kind of annoying in this episode. Now, that being said, they did the best they could, and I think this is one of the better best of the worst Jar Jar arcs. And, because again, it was a lot of just fun action, lots of cool, Mace Windu using the Force, cool, in interesting ways, cool location, cool enemies, cool villain. But Jar Jar did definitely bring the episode down. Also, This is something IGN pointed out, and I kind of have to agree. I do kind of wish I hadn't known it was Mother Talzin. Like, I think it would have been a bit more interesting if you had no idea it was Mother Talzin. But unfortunately, I knew from trailers, I knew from the images posted on StarWars.com and stuff. Again, someone commented below that Mother Talzin was back. And again, I feel like for something that's supposed to be a big reveal, I think that's something that doesn't show someone who doesn't show up till like the last 5 to 10 minutes of the episode. I feel like this is something that you should really keep more under wraps. And again, and they already gave away like one lightsaber fight in the Yoda arc that I kind of wish was a surprise, and there was another thing in the Yoda arc that I kind of know about already. I'm still excited to see it, but I unfortunately know about it, so the shock value is gone. So that's it. I was going to question whether or not Talzin's dead, but according to an interview on IGN about Season 6, which I'm going to read once I'm done watching all the bonus content, apparently Talzin is not dead, and apparently Filoni did have future plans for her in later episodes, which he talks about in the interview of IGN. So I'll have a link down to it in the description if you want to read it, if you've seen all the episodes and you don't, and you read it, because he's probably going to spoil, it probably spoils all of Season 6. So yeah, so it is a tragedy that we're not going to get to see Mother Talzin again, because she is a great villain. And I would have really liked to have seen what Filoni was going to do with her for the remainder of the show. And before I talk about the rest, finish talking, I just want to say something real quick. I feel so bad for the crew of the Clone Wars. I mean, think about it. All these writers put all this... If you go... And this also comes from just listening to interviews and behind-the-scenes stuff that are posted on Stars.com. These guys work so hard on these episodes. They put all this time, effort into writing and animating these episodes. They brainstorm ideas, get really excited about stuff when they have something good. And what's sad is that they've had all these real ideas, some of which they probably were really pumped and excited to make. And unfortunately, they're never going to get the chance to make these episodes. I mean, now for granted, they are probably continuing it through comic book form. I don't know if they're doing the entire show or just the rest of Darth Maul's story, but we are never going to get to see these episodes animated. And that must be really sad for the writers, because they probably put a ton of effort into this stuff, and now it's never going to air. In fact, on Rebel Force Radio, which I just Google and you can find it, it's like a podcast, they were interviewing one of the writers of the Clone Wars, and he said his favorite thing he ever wrote for the Clone Wars was this one arc that was originally supposed to be in Season 6, but due to, the shift, the bumping up of the Season 5 arc about banking, they had to bump the Season 6 arc up to the opening of Season 7, and that was his favorite arc, and unfortunately, it's never going to air, and he said how sad it was. I was like, yeah, I really want to know what these stories are. So anyway, so back to the episode. So, again, overall, it was a fun episode. It was, again, lots of fun action, cool locations, cool to see Talzin again. Jar Jar was annoying, though. And, yeah, so next up, I just have a few things, just little details about the episode that are, some of it's nitpicks, some of it's cool. It's just stuff I really couldn't find any other place to put it. So, if you really don't care, you can just skip ahead, because I am going to talk about my thoughts on the arc, on this arc overall. So, if you want, just skip ahead like a minute. So, some details that I noticed. Number one, the fortune cookie is, for this episode, the little quotes that they have at the beginning of each episode that I kind of forget by the end of it, which is, wisdom is born in fools as well as wise men. Which I feel like it's the Clone Wars trying to get us to like Jar Jar, like, hey, he may be clumsy, but he's smart. I'm like, we get it. Just stop with Jar Jar. No one likes him. I mean, Dave Filoni, if George Lucas is making you write these arcs, just tell him the idea sucks. I mean, it's your show, not his. George Lucas is the idea guy, not the writer. Alright, so next, let's see, I already talked about that. There was some cool creatures we got to see return this episode, like the little cat from the Ahsoka arc, the one that the part where Asajj is walking around Coruscant, she hears a noise, and it's like, oh, it's just that, and it's the oh, it's just that cliche, and then you see the real threat. it's just that was a little weird cat thing. It was nice to see that return. Also, we got to see the return of this creature, which I'm pretty sure it's the creature that Anakin and Obi-Wan fought when they were trapped in the cave and Dooku captured. We haven't seen that in a while. I never really bothered to go on to IMDb, but actually I'll go on right now. I think Phil LaMarr was voicing the goons, one of that goons working from Upper Talzin. I could be wrong. If not, don't hold me to that, but if it was, that was cool to see. Hang on. All of an annotation, hang on. Nope, it was Tom Kane. Whatever, anyway, but I digress. And let's see what else. It was odd seeing Mother Talzin in a ship. I didn't even know she had a ship, considering she's always teleporting around. Oh yeah, speaking of which, it's hard to tell sometimes when she's teleporting and when she's disintegrating, because I mean, season 4 was a bit more of her fading out, and it was just more of, are they going to do anything else with her? Here, the animation on her disintegration and the way she's fading out, it looks like she's dying. But according to Filoni, it's like, nope, we still have plans for her. So yeah. So I really hope they'll make that clear. Also, there was a nice little nod to King Kong with the way the Julia was restrained. Again, it was odd seeing Mother Talzin in a ship. It was really cool that she had a personal ship, and that was kind of cool to see. Also, I have a question. Why did the bad guys land so far away from the place where they needed to do the ritual? I mean, wouldn't it be easier just to land the ship right there? Although you could make the argument that maybe they knew Mace Windu was going to sense the orb and they just wanted to drag the chase out as long as possible, so they didn't get there until right before the ritual. Also, Mother Talzin, when Queen Julia asked Mother Talzin what her plan is, she says, I'm not going to waste my time telling you my plan, and then she proceeds to tell it anyway. So, you know, we have the bad guy telling person or evil plan cliche. So yeah, so my thoughts on this arc. It was fun. Again, fun. When it was action packed, it was fun. There was some cool areas, but I feel like this episode was a little slow, especially in the beginning. Again, once we got to the action, it got fun, but it just took a while to get there. I still haven't seen anything in this show, this season that has made me say it was so worth this show. That has justified me getting pissed over the show getting canceled. I mean, don't get me wrong, I enjoy the episodes, but there's nothing spectacular here. And here's the thing. This show has put out some amazing arcs, like the Savage arc, the Darth Maul arc, the Ahsoka arc. Those are just a couple of the really exceptionally good arcs. And when you see the Clone Wars do something exceptionally good, you kind of hold the show to that standard, and you want to see them do more arcs. So when I hear the show's coming back and Filoni's like, these are the best episodes my crew has ever put together, I expect them to be on par with those. And unfortunately, while I have enjoyed some of the arcs in this, none of them have been anything spectacular. Although we still have one more arc left, and that is the Yoda arc. And Filoni did say in an interview that this one he was especially excited for people to see. And I'm really curious to see it because it's the last arc, and I really hope it's nothing short of amazing. And as much as I don't want to, I really want the Yoda arc to be awesome, and for me, so I can get pissed at Disney for canceling the show, because it's like, why did you cancel that? We could have had more awesomeness like the Yoda arc. But since everything is just alright or good, I have only this left to say. Yoda arc! Help us, Yoda arc! No, wait, I should say it like Yoda says it. Yoda arc. Help us. Only hope you are. Until then, this is JStars360, and may the Force be with you.